Hi, friends. It's Wednesday, and like I say every week, it is my favorite day of the week. And that is because I get to interview amazing entrepreneurs and small business owners. Again, Cindy Rowe from Cindy Rowe Marketing, and I have a very special guest. I feel very honored to have her, Mrs. Urban. How are you? I told you I can't do it.
It's okay. Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So, friends, for those that may not know, Catherine and Mrs. Urban, the same person, but she was one of my children's teachers way back when they were in elementary school, and that's how I know her. She had this little side business too of doing at-home paintings where we could create these amazing, well, in her eyes, amazing pieces of art. But tell everybody what it is that you do now that I kind of spoiled it.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I am an artist and also an instructor. I was teaching elementary art for the last 12 years. Um, and on the side, I just wanted to, I don't know, kind of like expand who I was. So I would go to people's homes and just teach like painting parties. And then from there, I just kept going with it. Now I macrame. And so I teach people macrame and painting, and we do the stencil boards. I work with a bunch of local businesses in the area. Yeah, I don't know, any way that I can share the joy of creating with others. That's pretty much my goal because making art is awesome. And it's just something that I think is all in us and something that we need to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we all have creativity within, and it's just how we choose to express it, whether it's in art, like what you do, in music, in creative digital design, like I do. But I feel like we all have it, that piece of us, piece of it in us. There we go. So
Yeah, definitely.
how did you decide to like transform from, being an educator in that setting and being a business owner? Because that's a big jump.
Yeah, it totally is. Oh, my cat's going to join us.
I love it.
But well, so I guess kind of always I just wanted to be an artist. Like I never didn't want to be an artist since I was, I don't know, since I can remember. And going like in high school, everyone was like, what are you going to go to college for? And my parents, especially, I was like, to be an artist. Like, I'm going to be an artist. And they're like, you can't be an artist. Like, you're not going to make any money. You're going to starve and live on the streets. Um, and then there was my husband, and he said, at the time we weren't married, but he was like, why don't you just go into like art education and see if you like that? And I was like, me, a teacher? I don't know about that. But then I went into teaching and always kind of like with the plan of I'll do this for now and then I'll pursue my art career later. But then I just really love teaching. I didn't realize like how much I love to do that. And so I wanted to keep that piece with my business. So it's not just me making art. That way I can still teach others too. Um, yeah, and like 2020, before COVID hit, I had already decided like this is my last year of teaching and I'm just going to move right forward into my business. And I don't know, I think COVID was kind of like a blessing because it just made me jump right into it and there was
Yeah.
no time to waste. And yeah, I don't know. It was really an easy transition. It just felt very natural.
Yeah, and I will have to say the education is a big piece of my business model as well. I really enjoy that aspect of it and taking my expertise and putting it on a level where other small businesses can put it into practice. And I think you know being that I've attended I haven't done your macrame, and I still need to go to that. But having attended your class before, you have mastered how to break down the steps and make it easy for somebody that is not good with a paintbrush to
Well,
create
thank you.
art. Except for I screwed up the 3D like looking chair, right? That I put on my
Yeah, that was a more challenging one.
Do you remember that? I was like, oh, I shouldn't have put the chair on there. But we
Um,
all live and learn, and it was something I created. So, and I had a walk-in closet, and I had all of the ones that I did with you in there displayed proudly. So,
oh, that's awesome. Cool. I love to
so
hear that.
what's been the biggest challenge, as a small business owner? I mean, there's so many things that you're responsible for now as a business owner. So what's the one of the biggest challenges?
Oh, that's a tough one. I guess I feel like juggling so many hats. That has been the biggest challenge for me, and just kind of figuring out like, okay, this is how much time you need to create. This is how much time you need for social media, things like that, and just kind of being in charge of all of that is it was overwhelming at first. But once I kind of I was like, all right, I'm just going to make myself a schedule and we'll figure this out. That really helped. I think I'm just kind of a scheduled person, which naturally comes with teaching, I think. But yeah, that would probably be the biggest challenge.
So how have you been able to expand your business from, or finding new places to promote your art, promote your classes?
Yeah, so like word of mouth is number one. You just can't beat that. A lot of people that attend my classes, then, they're like, oh, hey, well, my friend owns this business. Can I give her your information? Or I'm having a birthday party in a couple months. I'd love to do a class with you for my birthday, things like that. Um, that's been the best. Social media has been awesome. Just to be able to easily find businesses and not have to drive around to every single one, and I can message them or call them. Yeah, that's been really great. So just a lot of me putting myself out there and everybody else kind of spreading the word.
Yeah. What's been one of your most fun recent classes or presentations that you've done?
Yeah. Well, I love doing the macrame. It's totally different. It's cool because I just get such a range of participants from young teenagers to I had an 89-year-old woman do it
That's great.
over the summer. And it's so cool to see people that are brand new to it and it's their first time. And others that are like, oh, I did this back in the 70s when I was a kid. And this is just bringing me right back to it. Um, I love doing that. But I will say a few weeks ago, I taught my first step-by-step painting again. And I haven't done one of those classes in probably 2 years. And I did that at Prairie State Winery in Genoa, and we had it was a sellout class, and I just did not expect that at all. And it was a blast. We had such fun. And then it just kind of reminded me how much fun painting is, because I kind of forgot for a while. So I've got another one of those booked. We got a few of them for the summer. So
Well, wine and painting, they kind of go hand in hand when you're not a painter.
oh yeah, totally.
It relaxes you a little bit.
Yes.
So interesting that you said that you haven't done the painting in a while and that you're focusing more on macrame. How did you get involved in macrame? Like, what was that? Is that something that you just stumbled upon and really enjoyed, or is it trendy now? I don't know. I mean, I see it all over,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, I did kind of stumble upon it. So my last year of teaching, I had student teachers lined up for the whole year. And and which was just like such a surprise. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I've got to be in the classroom and I'm not going to be here next year. So there's no point in me like organizing stuff and, planning for the next year. So I was looking for some kind of art I could make while I was still in the classroom and observing the student teacher. Christmas was coming up and my sisters and I were going to make each other gifts. And so I was like, I think I'll try macrame. And I started it and I was like, this is really cool. And it just felt very natural to me. I never worked with fibers at all. I mean, I've tried sewing, but I'm just terrible at sewing. But this is different, just tying knots. And it just, I don't know, it just like fell into place. And then people are like, wow, what are you making? That's cool. Can I order this from you? Can you make me that? And I was like, wait, I love this. This is so cool. And then I feel like as soon as I started doing that, and then, I don't know, it just kind of blew up. Like it became so popular. And I started to see like more artists were making macrame. And then, then it's like in all of the shops and the stores. And it's so cool. But I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like people are like, oh, what's going to happen? What are you going to do when that dies out? But I don't think it will. For me, at least the way that I do it, I just feel like it's not your standard macrame. There's so many things you can do with it. And yeah, and they'll just keep expanding and growing.
That's awesome. And so one of the cool things I think from your perspective is that this was just a hobby or a side gig that you turned into a business. So can you tell our viewers, like, what was the deciding factor or maybe advice on if they're thinking about taking that little hobby and making it more into something, serious? Do you have any input on that?
Yeah. I guess, let me think for a second. Someone just asked me this a couple weeks ago, like they kind of wanted to do the same thing. Should I quit my job and go for my dream? And I automatically just said, yes, if it's your dream, I think you should go for it. And if it's not scary, then, well, something's wrong because it should be scary. And that's okay. But I feel like you should just have a plan and have a plan A, have a plan B, and maybe even a plan C. And just know that it'll be okay if, one of those doesn't work out, have something to fall back on. I set my expectations pretty high for myself. I'm kind of a perfectionist. So, it's hard for me to just dial back a little bit sometimes. But yeah, I just tell them, just go for it. Just really go for it. And don't be afraid to ask for help. My husband is like my number one supporter, and I'm always going to him for advice, and he's really good about it. So just always have someone that you can go to,
Yeah. Do you have like other like creative friends, members, business owners, or whatever that you consider like your tribe, like you toss ideas out to or network with each other on, ideas or concepts or whatever it might be?
I guess not necessarily like a particular group, but there are a few that we might talk in person, especially like the business owners of the shops that my work is in, or if I'm like teaching at one of their places. We bounce a lot of like business ideas off of each other. I would say it's mostly that. It's kind of funny, like artists, we might, talk to each other on social media and stuff, but it is kind of like a lonely job.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that's making all of it. So it's really on you. But I just feel like Instagram has been really great for building relationships with other artists that make macrame or work with fiber art. And we talk to each other and support each other on there, which is really, really, really nice.
Yeah, that's great. And it's great that you have, your spouse as a support system. that he supports not only your art, but your art business, which is, something that it taking it to the next level to a business, regardless if it's art or not, is a scary step. And you do need that partner that is there along the way, encouraging and supporting you, because it can be scary at times, right? So
Oh yeah,
so how do you
definitely.
stay up on the trends, or because I've seen you do some fun things, like not you're just little typical macrame things. You are trying new things. Like, do you just sit around and like, hey, I want to try this? Or do you do research, or do you see other artists and say, I want to see if I can do that? Or like, how do you get that inspiration and to create new types of macrame and new types of art?
Yeah, good question. So when I first started, it was a lot of like, oh, let me just see what they're doing and I'll try that. I want to just kind of copy that and see if I can make those knots and that design, which was great because it taught me like so many things and, what I liked, what I didn't like. Um, but now I feel like, and this is going to maybe sound crazy, but I just, like it just kind of comes to me. Like I'll just be driving and like daydreaming about it. And I just get these ideas or maybe in the middle of the night, I'll have a dream about it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's built into me now. And it'll just come to me. I'll just see something when I go antiquing a lot and I like to incorporate that into my pieces. And so maybe I'll see like an old like stairway spindle and automatically I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what colors I'm going to put on that. I know exactly what design. I can just see it, which is really good. It's great because as a creative person, you don't always have that. So right now I'm like riding that wave, and it kind of comes and goes. But when it goes, you look to other people for inspiration. But yeah.
Yeah, you got to take the inspiration when it hits you, that's for sure. I agree with you there, being a different type of creative. But the I guess it leads me to another question of, what kind of, or what's the best words of wisdom or advice that somebody gave you when you said, I am quitting teaching and starting my business?
I don't know if there was just like one that stands out, but I didn't have a single person say like, "Oh, good luck," or like, "That's gonna be tough." No, everyone was so supportive, and they were like, "You're going to be amazing. We'll follow you wherever. You're going to do great." Which that was just so reassuring to have that, and just like really to have all the teachers, that I taught with, and like
Mm-hmm.
students and their parents, and it was just nice to have that network and all of their support too.
That's amazing. And you don't hear that very often when somebody says, I'm leaving, stability and comfort and going with my passion and what brings me joy and happiness. So, some people just don't understand it, right? Like, why would you leave that? Why can't you just continue doing it on the side and on the weekends? Like, some people just don't have that. But I appreciate that you've surrounded yourself with pretty amazing people that they encouraged you to take that leap. Not everybody gets that. So
Yeah, I
super,
feel
super
very
cool.
lucky, very
Yeah.
fortunate to have everyone's support. It's just been great.
So you said you have shop owners. So you have your art in shops, but you don't have your own brick and mortar store front or anything like that.
Right. Not yet, but I do want to. I'm just looking for the right place. So um, I had my eye on two places, either Lake Geneva or Woodstock. I know it's kind of a gap, but um, leaning towards Woodstock right now, just waiting for the right space to open up. So
That's
yeah, but that's
exciting.
the goal. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do is just have my own actual studio where people could come to, and I could still teach. We could have like open studio sessions. I could rent it out for events, and I don't know, have other artists showcase their art there. I mean, I have so many ideas, I feel like, but
That's great. So yeah, we have a fan that said Woodstock. Yes.
yeah, okay, cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Woodstock would be a really fun place. Is that like, are you looking at on the square or somewhere near the square or?
Yeah, that's what I am looking like on the square. So, or as close to the square as I can get. It's just such, I don't know, Woodstock is just such like a good, like homey small town, I feel like, and they really support local and small businesses, and it just kind of makes sense. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. I have another question that just popped up, so we'll why we aren't chatting about something. Danica asked, as
Yeah.
someone else who works from home, how do you keep yourself motivated and focused on work versus home? Great question,
That's
Danica.
such a good question. Yeah. Such a good question. Um, that has been, I think I'm really good at it now, but it definitely took me like a year to do that. Also, I have a 1 year old, and so I had a newborn, and with COVID, I had a 5 year old and a 1 year old with me at home, and that was wow, that was very hard. But I think just having a space that you dedicate to like your work, and in that space, that's where I go, and that's where I'm going to stay and do my work for whatever amount of time makes sense for you, and just turn on your music, forget about the rest of the house. It can wait. There will always be dust. There will always be dishes. Um, but I think it's just important to make time for like what you want to do. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't consider it my work. People, yes, it's my work, but it doesn't feel like work. I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I felt that, when so I had a home office for the first few years of my business, and then right before COVID, I got office space and then had to close it because I was like co-sharing office space. And then I had opportunity to go back into a different co-sharing office space that I partnered up with a client of mine. And then I moved, and I at that point I couldn't work at home anymore. During a portion of the COVID where I did not have an office space, I like could not stay focused. And my business was at a point where I needed to focus and not like, oh, the dog wants to play. Oh, the dishes. Oh, there's a refrigerator. I think I need a snack. Like I needed to get away from that. So right now, my office, I am at Iron Tech in Beloit, and I absolutely love the space, surrounded by like-minded people. That I've got a desk where I can focus, and it's not far from home. So when crappy weather days, I don't have to make an excuse of not going to the office because it's not that far. But yeah, I love the advice of having a dedicated space. When I was at home, I would put a curtain up at the door frame, and so my kids at the time knew that if the curtain was up, mom was actually working. So unless you were
Yeah.
bleeding, you don't come
Yeah.
and see me.
Me alone.
I don't
Uh,
care if you need a juice box, then you know how to get one. But unless you're bleeding, you don't come into mom's office when the curtain's up. But so you have young children and you're balancing, a business. What kind of advice would you give to young mothers, like, that are starting out on a business adventure?
I would say don't feel guilty. Don't feel
Mm,
guilty for
that's so good.
wanting, yeah, for just wanting to do what you want to do. There's just so much out there, I feel like, in this day and age with social media that tells you, like, you're a mom now, you need to do this, 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 and this. You have to be the perfect mom. You have to, you have to do it all, but you don't. Like it's okay. It's okay for your kids themselves. They should play by themselves. That's a skill they need. Or it's okay to like have your kids there while you're working too. Have them like help you out with stuff. Mine, like I'll put my 5-year-old to work and have him cut cords at a certain length that I need. The 1-year-old, I just tell him like, here's all my ropes, go organize them. And he just has fun with them. But, just, give yourself some grace and don't feel guilty about putting you first sometimes.
Yeah, that's an awesome advice for mothers, because I think there is that big guilt factor that we're choosing, something over them, right? And it's just not fair to us. My kids are older, and when I decided to start a business, and I feel like I'm showing them that it's 100% okay to go for your dream, and everybody's dream is different. And and working hard at something that you're passionate about, like that's what I feel like I'm giving them. And the fact that I can have a flexible schedule too, so that I can attend their sporting events, and do things with them where I couldn't when I had, a 9-to-5 job. And I think they see that, like, okay, yep, mom's working. She's working really hard right now, but I know that, she'll be able to go to my golf match or whatever. So, I think that's important. Like, we're showing them, like, it's really awesome to fight for your dream and go for it. And if I fail, at least I tried, right? And I think that's another good lesson to give to them. Well, we are at the end of the show, which is like the coolest part, that it goes so fast. And I've enjoyed having a conversation with you. But I always give my guests an opportunity to promote their business, tell people how they can find you, whatever. So the floor is yours. I'm going to put up your information and go ahead.
Thanks. So the urbanartstudio.com, that's my website. And on there, I have a bunch of my pieces available for purchase, but I also list all of my events that are coming up. So it's updated like all the way through the rest of the month. Or you can go find me on Facebook and look at the events tab too. I've got some really good ones coming up. Like May is just jam-packed. Tomorrow is macrame and margaritas in a barn in Rockford, which is going to be awesome. And there's still a few seats, I think. So you could check that one out. Also, come stop by my booth at Main Street Market in Belvedere on May 21st. Nice. I'm so excited that I'm a part of that this year. I'll have like a little giveaway, and just come and say hi.
That's so awesome. Yes, the Main Street Market, right? Is that what it's the Main Street Market? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been in Belvedere for the last year, right? It's new to Belvedere. Wasn't it over in Rockford for a bit?
Yeah, I think it's been. Yep, it was in Rockford, and now it's at the fairgrounds.
Cool. That's a great opportunity for you. You had mentioned that you're in some storefronts. Do you want to put a shout out to where they can find your art in stores?
Yeah, definitely. So the Midwest Rustic in Rockford, right downtown, that's a cool shop. We're all Synergy Collective in Roscoe. It's another like cool, really calming shop.
I know they just opened. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you. I was like, the Synergy shop.
You're okay.
They just opened, right, in Roscoe, the Synergy Collective?
Yes. Yeah, they're new. And yeah, it's awesome. You'll like find something for you, something for anyone there, I feel like. Where else? Home on Hayloft. They're open like every other month for one weekend out of the month, and it's a barn out in the country in Rockford. Am I missing somewhere? I feel like I'm missing somewhere. I can't
what
think
did
of it
you say
right
when
now.
I cut you off? I cut you off. So what was the place that you said?
Local Blessings.
Okay.
Oh, and
yeah.
Frosted Farmhouse in Rockton too. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a lot.
So they can
Come
find
on.
your art pieces all over. They can join some of your classes and everything they can find at theurbanartstudio.com, correct? And your socials. And for those social media people, you'll have to check her out on Instagram because she is killer at the reels. So I've enjoyed watching you embrace that because I tell my clients to do it and I haven't been that good at doing it myself. So
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I like it.
well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing a little bit about your story and your advice to other mothers that are pursuing their passion and starting a business. So appreciate having you on today. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
Bye for now. We'll see you next week.